Rey Skywalker.
Hello everybody, some would say I'm the Reverse, and welcome back to another video. It's been a while since I've uploaded, not a lot going on right now, obviously because of the shows being on hiatus, and yeah, I decided that I'm going to make some Star Wars videos since there's nothing going on in the Arrowverse, and Star Wars, well, is the one thing that I love even more than the Arrowverse. It's just not really what my channel is about, but yeah, Clone Wars, the second arc of Clone Wars is ending tomorrow. I have this video. I'll be ranking a bunch of other stuff from the movies, and then when the Clone Wars finishes, I'll be doing like all the seasons ranked, then maybe top 10 episodes, top 10 arcs, top 10 original Clone Wars characters, stuff like that. But here we are with the tier list for all 11 theatrically released live-action Star Wars films. Now, I've been wanting to rank all these films for a while now, and I decided I was going to do a tier list just so I could be a little bit more specific with how I feel about the films, because there could be a huge gap in the list that wouldn't be necessarily like illustrated through just a normal ranking. And I also went through the time to rewatch all of these films since my opinion on them changes from day to day. I have seen these films 50 times a piece, so I did not rewatch them to refresh my memory. I did it because truly my ranking just switches from day to day. But let's just start with episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which definitely gets a lot of hate, which I think it deserves some of it. Like Jar Jar is very annoying. Jake Lloyd, even though he's 9 years old, and I didn't think he was terrible, he does have some pretty bad moments. Um, but I really, really do like this film. I think the world building in it is incredible. Obviously, I love Darth Maul and the duel of the Fates scene and stuff like that. And I don't really know how to describe what I like about this film. I just think it is obviously, the world building, and I don't know, it just has this certain charm to it that I can't really describe. I am going to put this film in the good category. Now, I know some of you original trilogy fanboys out there will be like, "What? That film is terrible!" But uh, myself and a majority of the community that I've seen on the internet have definitely warmed up to the prequels, and a lot of people really do like this film now, which I'm glad that people like it, because I enjoy the film. And the pod race scene, I don't know why there's people that don't like it and say that it's a really bad part of the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, but now we have Attack of the Clones, which I actually prefer over the Phantom Menace. Now, I think most people disagree with that, but I don't know. There is one crucial reason why I prefer this film over The Phantom Menace, and that is the overall story of the films. The Phantom Menace, I don't really like the fact that the whole plot revolves around the liberation of one singular planet. Now, I understand that there are certain things that sort of weave into that plot line, like Palpatine becoming Chancellor and stuff like that, and the whole Padme and her involvement with it. But I just really don't like how grounded it feels for a Star Wars film, um, because I don't know, I don't really know how to describe it. I just don't like the overall story of it. Attack of the Clones, I really enjoy the storyline of this film. There are two sort of storylines that are juggled and combined kind of in this film. There's the Padme storyline of her being a target to assassination, and then there's the clones. Um, there is the whole clone army storyline, which I love. I have always loved that storyline, the mystery behind it, and I don't know, just the setup into the Clone Wars. I think it's really cool. And then obviously they're connected through Jango Fett. So obviously Jango hired by Count Dooku to kill Padme. He is also the template for the clones who were ordered by Count Dooku. So everything just comes together. Obviously there is some weird there's some weird dialogue like I don't like sand, but I mean he's a 19-year-old monk who's never really talked to women, so I mean you can kind of let it slide. Obviously, George wasn't thinking about that when he wrote the dialogue. He thought it was good dialogue, and clearly it's not. But in universe, it makes a little bit of sense. But obviously, you could look at it as me just making excuses as well. But yeah, I just think this film is enjoyable, and I like it more than the Phantom Menace. Um, to a lot of people's dismay, I assume. Then we have Revenge of the Sith, which goes in amazing. I love this film. This film has been getting so much praise from the fan base recently, which I love. I've been seeing so many people say it's their favorite Star Wars movie, which I absolutely love. It's not my favorite, and I'll get to that in a bit, but I thoroughly enjoy it. It is my favorite storyline of like overall storyline for a Star Wars movie. I just think the way it is written is really, really good. I love the downfall of Anakin. I love Palpatine manipulating him. I don't know. I really love the love story between him and Padme. You can actually feel it in this film, similar to the Clone Wars and stuff like that. Obviously, it's the most heartbreaking of the Star Wars films by far. I think, um, and the duels, some of them are great. Anakin versus Obi-Wan is great. In my opinion, Anakin and Obi-Wan versus Count Dooku is actually really good. Um, and I enjoy Sidious versus Yoda. Um, I enjoy that. Obi-Wan versus Grievous I think is decent. It's just, it's all flash and no substance, I guess. And Palpatine versus Mace Windu. Uh, the CGI, like the CGI face for Palpatine's bad. And and other than the CGI shots of him flipping around and stuff, the the base choreography of the fight not very good. Um, but my favorite my favorite opening to a Star Wars film, my favorite ending to a Star Wars film, the lead up into A New Hope gives me chills. I literally get teary eyed every time that movie ends, with Vader and Palpatine looking at the Death Star, Luke getting dropped off on Tatooine, and Leia on Alderaan, excuse me, and then Obi-Wan sitting there while on Bruna glow and hold Luke while looking out to the binary sunset with the music playing. It is incredible. I love this film. Hayden Christensen is really good in it. Ewan McGregor shines like always. Natalie Portman is good in it. And Ian McDiarmid is incredible in it. And no Jar Jar. So yeah, this film, as cheesy as it can be, as dated as some of the CGI can be, I think it is still an incredible film from a storytelling perspective. And yeah, if you disagree with me, more power to you. Next, we have A New Hope, which actually I'm going to put right here, obviously. It's amazing. Why wouldn't it be? It's such a good film. Obviously, it's the first Star Wars, so there's a little bit of nostalgia and just the fact that in its time it was um, an unprecedented movie, remarkable CGI for the time, and it revolutionized cinema. But also, it's just a really good film. The storyline just is so smooth, and I don't know. The characters always, obviously, it's the original trilogy. The characters are awesome. Darth Vader is really good in this film. Not the probably the weakest film in terms of Darth Vader content, in my opinion. And then obviously we have Luke, Han, Chewie, Leia, the introduction of the whole universe, and the opening shot. iconic. The end, iconic. The score in the film, iconic. The trench run, Tatooine, everything in this film is absolutely iconic, and it still holds up today, which you can't say for a lot of 70s films, but this is definitely one of those that you'll be able to watch it 50 years in the future and still appreciate it for what it is, and that is a great film. But then we have Empire Strikes Back. Just gonna move that over there. Gonna move this over there. I know this is the basic answer for favorite Star Wars film, but it's so good. It just barely beats Revenge of the Sith for me, but there's just something about it that I absolutely love. Um, I don't know. Uh, the storyline, I really like how it splits up into two groups. We have Luke and R2. Well, obviously, we have the Battle of Hoth where everyone's on the same planet. They're still kind of split up in that battle as well. But then Luke and R2, they go to Dagobah, meet Yoda, and then Han and Leia and Chewie and 3PO, they go off in another direction. They have the asteroid belt battle, which is awesome. And then they go to Bespin, which is awesome. The whole Bespin sequence is incredible. I love that sequence. And then Luke goes to Bespin, and it's just history was made. This film is so good. The Bespin stuff, uh, the intensity of that with Luke sneaking around, and then he goes and meets Vader in that in the carbon freezing chamber, and one of my favorite lines of all time, along with one of my favorite shots, one of my favorite moments. Right when Luke enters the carbon freezing chamber, Vader's standing there with the smoke billowing behind him. Um, there's no music, and he just says, "The Force is with you, young Skywalker, but you're not a Jedi yet." That is probably my favorite Darth Vader line of all time. Just the way he says it is badass. And then the fight, incredible. The reveal at the end, incredible. The ending is one of my favorite endings of a Star Wars film of all time. It ends on a darker note with Han being in carbonite. The music is one of my favorite cues in all of Star Wars. Um, there's not much else I can say about this. Boba Fett is a badass in this film. He barely does anything, but he's a badass. Uh, that's that's all I have, really. It's such a good film. And this will be a controversial opinion. I know it will. Let's move this here. Return of the Jedi goes right there. Now I know some of you are thinking, how could you put Return of the Jedi above A New Hope? I honestly don't know. I don't know why I love this film so much. Um, Something about it. Maybe it's because I grew up watching it and this was the movie that I watched the most out of Star Wars. Definitely not the Ewoks. A lot of people say that on the internet. Return of the Jedi fans, people who like Return of the Jedi most, only grew up with the Ewoks. That's why they like it. I've never been fond of the Ewoks. I actually disliked them when I was a kid. Um, I just, I don't know. I don't know why I disliked them. It's not usually a thing a kid dislikes, the cute teddy bear creatures, but I did. Um, I don't know, I just love the father-son relationship between Vader and Luke in this film. It is so good. Um, Especially with the context from the prequels, knowing and loving the character of Anakin Skywalker, and then the redemption of Anakin Skywalker and the death of this character that we've seen so much of, who's played such a big part of everything in the Star Wars universe. It is heartbreaking, that end, the death of Darth Vader. You know, also, the space battle is incredible. The Emperor is the best he's been. Other than Revenge of the Sith, I think this is the Emperor's best film. And then Darth Vader's death scene, like I said, super sad. And well, the scene that I cry at every single time I watch this film, I cry at that end scene um, with Victory Celebration playing. Yes, I know. Um, it, I'm not a Yub Nub fan. I really like Yub Nub, but I just don't think it fits the scene, especially when this is basically the perfect end to what I think should have been the end of the saga. Um, it's just not very. I don't know. It just doesn't fit the scene that much. Victory Celebration though makes me cry every single time. Um, just that ending is so heartwarming, and it's tears of joy every single time. And I don't like the some of the celebration. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Some of the special edition changes. Jedi Rocks is probably the most embarrassing moment to show a new fan of Star Wars. I literally cringe every single time I watch it, and it makes me worried that the people I show Star Wars for the first time will never want anything to do with this universe ever again. Jedi Rock sucks, okay? It just sucks. But there are some changes that I like. You know, the eyebrow removal is one of them. Wicket blinking, huge change. I love it. Hayden Christensen, I am kind of 50-50 on that change. The other change I hate is the no when Palpatine is shooting his lightning at Luke. Vader screams no. I hate that. I think it's so stupid. Um, Obviously, the first act is a little bit choppy with Luke's plan to get to free Han. It makes no sense, but it's still a fun sequence, so it doesn't matter. But I think that's really it. Uh, yeah. Let's go on to The Force Awakens, which objectively is a good movie. You know, it's got the pacing, it's got the storyline, it's got that nostalgia. Um, it's just the fact that the storyline is already placed on this list. You know, it's already happened. It is ripped from A New Hope, and that's something that bogs this movie down big time. Also, its reliance on nostalgia and its lack of world building, which is a big complaint I have with the trilogy. But the movie's not bad. I think it is the best of the sequel trilogy, and I do really enjoy it. I have a fun time watching every single Star Wars movie. Um, I'll put this in decent. I think it is decent. Now, I know some people really love this movie. I know some people really hate this movie. I'm right in the middle, you know. Rey, definitely overpowered, which I don't like. Kylo Ren, he is awesome in this film, actually. I really like him in this film. Han Solo and Chewie, it was cool to see them back. Obviously, they're some of my favorite characters in all of media and all of entertainment and pop culture. It was awesome to see them back until Han Solo was killed. Luke, we got to see him a little bit, and he wasn't. He was Luke Skywalker in this film until we'll get to that. And I didn't like Leia in this film. Honestly, I don't know why. Obviously, no disrespect to Carrie Fisher. She is such a saint, and I love her, and I hope she rests in the most peaceful place um, in existence because she is awesome, and I love the character of Leia. I just think that she didn't really have anything to add to this film except for emotional impact with Han, and that's really it. But obviously, it was awesome to see her back. Hux was good in this film as well, which is a first and a last. I did like him in this film. His speech is honestly one of my favorite moments in the film. Very Hitler-esque, and I just wish we got to see more of this version. We were going to see more of this version in the Duel of the Fates, episode 9, by Chris or Colin Trevorrow. I don't know why I said Chris. I was thinking of Chris Terrio, I think. I don't know why. But yeah, obviously, I really like the score of this film. Obviously, it has amazing CGI and just crispness to it. That modern day crispness that it has to the film. That's really it. Also, Snoke, he was good while he lasted, and well, that leads me into The Last Jedi, which I also think is decent. Now, please don't hate on me. Please let me have my own opinion, since opinions are opinionated and they're subjective, and every human has a right to their opinion. I am a human. I have a right to my opinion. I think this film is decent. No, I don't think it's trash. No, I don't think it's bad. No, I don't think it's Rey Skywalker, as you can see from the last tier. It's an enjoyable film, okay? It's boring at first, but I think it is very enjoyable. It has some of the best visuals. The music in this film is very unremarkable. I don't remember a single musical cue. Rotico sucks. Canto Bight sucks. Hux sucks. Poe Dameron or Poe what's her name? Holdo sucks. Snoke dying sucks. Rey being a nobody sucks. Hyperspace Holdo maneuver sucks. This film breaks the canon. There's a difference between suspending disbelief relative to our world, um, breaking the laws of physics that we experience in our world, but there's something wrong with breaking canon in your own universe, defying your own laws of physics, and I just this ruins some of Star Wars, some previous like I can't even talk about it. It makes me mad. Obviously, I said I enjoyed this film. I think Kylo is really good in this film as well. I really like his Force connection with Rey in this film. I think it's way better in this film than it was in Rise of Skywalker. Just when it was, dipping the toes into that idea before they went full-fledged teleporting objects and stuff left and right. I think they did good with that. Snoke was awesome in this movie until he got Darth Mauled. Luke sucks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mark Hamill. Well, I'm not sorry to Mark Hamill. He feels the exact same way. I feel bad for Mark Hamill because they ruined his character. Up until the end of this film, he was not Luke Skywalker. He was Jake Skywalker. I do like Luke at the end of the film when he goes to fight Kylo, because he's just toying with Kylo. He's wise. You know, he didn't go down there to battle the entire First Order. Like he said in the beginning of the film, he didn't go down. He didn't go down to battle the entire First Order, to slash it out with Kylo in a full-fledged lightsaber duel and do some crazy flips and I don't know, Yoda moves. He he's wise like a master. He projects himself, which I don't really like that ability. I think it's stupid. But he projects himself to Kylo, and he does it in a way that will have maximum emotional impact on Kylo. Short hair, uh, you know, it's not as gray. He has the blue lightsaber, even though Kylo just watched the blue lightsaber get destroyed. Luke still uses it, which I like that aspect. A lot of people don't like that he didn't use his green one, but I like that he used his blue one because that's what Kylo resonates with. And Kylo's not thinking clearly because his uncle, who tried to kill him, well, from his perspective, he turned into a Sith Lord for a few seconds and tried to kill him, and then he hates Luke. He is not in his right mind, and I don't know. I just love that aspect, and I think it's a really enjoyable. I think it's a really enjoyable scene. Uh, Go check out there's a video on YouTube called "How Music Can Change a Scene." Kylo Ren versus Luke. You guys have to go check that out if you haven't seen it. It puts a Revenge of the Sith track over over that over that scene. It's the music that plays when Obi-Wan is talking to Padme, when he says Anakin was the father, wasn't he? It's called "I'm So Sorry." That's what the music is called, and they put it over the Kylo Ren versus Luke, and it's super emotional because it's nephew and uncle, and it's supposed to be a super emotional scene, and it's not. So, well, not super emotional. It is still pretty emotional, but that that scene, the scene is elevated tenfold. Just go check it out. I can't remember who made it, since he's not like a super popular YouTuber or anything, but it is really really good. I don't know. I love the scene so much with that music, but there's not much else I have to say about that. Um, let's just go on to The Rise of Skywalker, which I'm sorry for Rise of Skywalker fans. I think the movie is bad. Um, I think it has its moments, like the redemption of Ben Solo. I like that they included that. Reylo, not a fan. The Luke scene was just a kick in the nuts to Rian Johnson. Um, and then also the Han scene, which some reason people didn't understand that it was Kylo's memory. I enjoyed that scene as well. It was cool to see Harrison back. It was cool to see him interact with Ben, and he's the reason Ben redeemed himself, which I think is cool. Um, Rey being well, spoiler if you haven't seen it yet, which if you haven't, what are you doing? It's almost been like 6 months since the movie came out. Yeah, Rey being a Palpatine, mixed feelings. It's weird, but I mean, it explains stuff, but not really. I don't know. Palpatine being a clone, which was revealed after the fact. Um, well, I just prefer if they didn't bring Palpatine at all. Um, I think the best way to describe this film is it feels like a fan fiction, or a cartoon. Um, I don't know. Uh, Palpatine being back is just fanfic. Rey being a Palpatine feels like fanfic. Palpatine shooting the huge burst of lightning into the sky and it's spreading out and destroying a bunch of ships. That feels like fanfic. It's just, eh. And then Palpatine being vaporized by a second lightsaber. That's just stupid. And then the missed opportunity. Apparently, there was a scene or a few of Hayden Christensen coming back to play Anakin as a Force ghost. That was planned, and they cut that. Dude, this is the end of the Skywalker saga. The saga that in the first 6 films was about Anakin Skywalker. This was Anakin's storyline. He's the chosen one. He is literally like he's the main character of Star Wars. And you are ending the saga without him. Cool, he has a few voice. Bring the balance, Rey, as I did. Dude, just bring him back as a Force ghost. They had it planned, and what was most likely Kathleen Kennedy cut it because man and man bad. Um, Hayden is man, but ugh, that just that rubs me the wrong way. Um, Honestly, my favorite scene of the entire film was when Rey stumbled upon the Death Star 2 throne room. Not because it's a cool scene or anything, but the music in it literally brought tears to my eyes when I heard it. Like, it was the music that played when Darth Vader died. So, of course, I'm gonna get the feels. Like, how would I not? Um, and, well, let's not even talk about it. I think the movie is better than Rey Skywalker, which is why it's not in the Rey Skywalker um, tier. But next, we have Rogue One, which a lot of people, I've seen mixed feelings about this film actually. I'm going to put it in great. I love this movie. I love the war aspect of it. I love Darth Vader. I love all the characters and the way that they established lovable characters that interact well within the span of like 2 hours. And then they killed them all off, which hurt me. Hurt me right in the heart. Obviously, goes right into A New Hope. I love the ending to this film. I think it's awesome. Also, the beginning is cool. The music is awesome. Orson Krennic is a cool villain. Grand Moff Tarkin, it was cool to see him again, even though he kind of looked weird sometimes when his mouth moved. Um, he kind of looked like that droid in the basement of Jabba's palace. You know, the way his mouth moved. Um, uh, what else is there to talk about, really? Death Star, awesome. Battle of Scarif, awesome. The Darth Vader scene is legendary and iconic. The cinematography in this film, very underrated. I think I don't know, just the shots, especially from space in the Battle of Scarif, are cool as fuck. Um, oops, I swore. There are some shots where it's just a simple shot of an X-wing flying in frame in front of Scarif, but just the depth perception of Scarif, um, I don't know, it just looks incredible. I don't know why. But then, uh, obviously, some people complain that these characters we had no time to fall in love with them, and then they just killed them off. I fell in love with them right away. K2SO is hilarious. Cassian Andor is very intriguing, and that's why they're planning on giving him a series. Jin, who is actually not my favorite character, I like Cassian more and probably Chirrut. Um, Jin, I think, is a very strong female character. Um, the Force is strong with her, obviously. Not literally because she's not Force sensitive. Um, she's a very strong female character like Leia, unlike Rey, because Rey is just a fucking beast. Um, then there's Chirrut, who I love. Um, I love his symbolic connection to the Force. It's like he is basically like worshiping it like a religion, but he like obviously can't use the Force, like Force sensitivity or anything like that, which I think is an awesome concept. Um, then there's Baze, who's funny at a few points. He has a cool gun. That's basically it. Then there's Bodhi, who there's not much about him that I like. I like the defected Imperial pilot. They did him better than they did Finn, honestly. But yeah. Uh, then we have Solo. Yes, I hate this movie. Now, I think this movie did not deserve to do as badly as it did in the box office. All that hate came from The Last Jedi. But the movie, it did not need to be made. Now, with the prequels, there being some questionable dialogue, questionable acting, some dated CGI, and some awkward romantic scenes, I have never cringed uh, in those films as much as I cringe in Solo. I'm sorry, but um, I'm not saying that every time. You're gonna need a nickname. Uh, Han Solo. How about that, what else is there? Droid rights. Like, come on. This film botched Han Solo. Not the character, just, what they were trying to do with him. He can't have a character arc because his character arc takes place in the original trilogy, which is why it's a terrible idea to make a Han Solo's origin movie. I'd honestly would have preferred the Legends introduction to him where he's on Kashyyyk during the Battle of Kashyyyk. I mean, imagine how awesome it was to like open the film with the Battle of Kashyyyk from Revenge of the Sith. Like, dude, that would have been sick. Him living on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees, that would have been cool when he's 10 years old. Way better than what we got. The only good part about this film, I think, is Darth Maul, which is pure fan service. Which is, the problem I have with this film is just all the fan service. But Darth Maul, it was cool to see him in live action again, played by Ray Park, but voiced by Sam Witwer. Like, dude, the best combo in the history of combos. It's awesome to see him again. What else? There's no original characters in this that I like. Qi'ra, there's nothing really special about her. She wasn't here to stay, obviously, because Leia comes in and has an entire 2 trilogies of love for Han Solo. Lando, he was good in this film. Definitely should have been better than he was. He was less of the swashbuckler, fun guy that we saw in Empire. Han talked about Lando in Empire, as not being responsible back then. But he's like, we don't get to see any of that in this film. Like, barely any. Like, dude, he's playing a freaking card game. Holy crap, what a savage. I wanted to see more, Lando and a Han shooting up the place, going into a saloon and just killing some people that, I don't know, I wanted to see them shoot first, but we got to see none of that. Instead, we got to see Lando have sex with some droids off screen, and that's it. And, that sucks. Especially because they got freaking Childish Gambino to play him. Then Chewie, who really all he did in this film was get a nickname and speak some Wookiee with Han Solo as they took a shower together. The only thing that I liked about him is his scene in the cage, which doesn't even make any sense because we know he understands English, but he didn't cooperate with Han until Han spoke Wookiee, which maybe that's like a trust thing. Like Chewie was like, "Holy crap, he speaks my language!" Like this brought us closer. This shared language together, but it was played off as this sort of understanding thing. So because he didn't understand Han when he spoke English, Han spoke Wookiee. He understood him, but Chewie spoke English, or he did not speak English. What am I saying? He understood English. If Chewie spoke English, that'd be a sight to see. That'd be really weird. That's really all I have to say about this movie. Tobias was a waste of Woody Harrelson for sure. I don't know. I guess I'd like a comic with Darth Maul and Qi'ra. I definitely prefer it over Qi'ra Star Wars story releasing in 2023. But that is all I have. So, yeah, that's my ranking. We got Empire, we got Revenge of the Sith, we got Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, Rogue One, Attack of the Clones, The Phantom Menace, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, Solo. Those are the 11 theatrically released live-action Star Wars films. Leave your ranking in the description if you want to put it in a tier list format. List your A's, your B's, your C's, your D's, your E's, your F's, or your amazing, great, good, decent, bad, and Rey Skywalkers. Feel free, because I am really interested to see what you guys think of my ranking, what your guys' ranking are, and I I don't know. I'm just really interested in what the community thinks, especially the people who watch my channel. Um, I don't know. Just tell me what you guys thought. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for my future tier lists and or rankings for Star Wars. See ya.